Have you ever thought about turning an ordinary wine bottle into a stunning masterpiece? In this mesmerizing mixed media tutorial, I'll show you how to transform an empty wine bottle into a decorative masterpiece using decoupage techniques, ombre painting, and air dry clay embellishments. Hello my crafty friends, I'm Donna from Mason Creations Etc. and welcome to my channel. Sit back, relax, and let's make a mess. I was given this empty wine bottle and I just love the crown that's embossed into the glass. This is going to be a fun project, but first I'm going to wipe the bottle down with an alcohol wipe. This will remove any dirt, debris, or fingerprints. You want a nice clean surface to start off with. I'm going to brush on Polyvine's multi-surface lacquer in a dead flat finish. This is a great primer for any shiny surface, such as glass, plastic, or ceramic. I'm using the dead flat finish because I want to remove the shine. This will give paint or decoupage glue a great surface to adhere to. Paint won't chip, scratch, or peel. For best results, I'm going to let this dry overnight. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. I'm going to paint the entire bottle with Dixie Belle paint in the color cotton, which is white. I'm using a sponge because you get better coverage. The sponge ends up putting a heavier coat of paint than a brush. I'll let it dry for about 30 minutes and apply another coat, just to make sure it's opaque. The second coat can be done with a sponge or a brush. Notice that the glass isn't clear any longer. The multi-surface lacquer removed the shine, which gives the glass a frosted appearance. If you plan on having a section that you want to see through, make sure to avoid the lacquer in that area. Removing the shine is what's needed to give your paint good adhesion. I'm getting this beautiful rice paper prepped and ready for decoupaging. I'm removing the image I'm going to use from the sheet using a water brush. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. You can find this in my description box below, in my favorite tools section, just in case you want to check it out. You always want to tear your rice paper or napkin instead of cutting it. A torn edge is much easier to blend than a sharp cut edge. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. It's fun to see what cities and countries you are all watching from. I'm filming from Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. I'm using Polyvine's Decorator's Varnish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive. All the Polyvine formulas can double as a decoupage adhesive. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue. It's not a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. Make sure you always paint white or a very light off-white wherever you're going to decoupage rice paper or a napkin. White allows the colors in your images to look more vibrant. Dark colors will make your images look dark and muddy. When I'm decoupaging on a flat surface, I normally spray my rice paper with water before decoupaging. But since this is a round surface and I need to have more control, I'm still smoothing out the bubbles with water. I'm just doing it a different way. I cut a piece of plastic from a Ziploc bag, sprayed it with some water, then laid it on the image and smoothed out any wrinkles or bubbles with a paper towel through the plastic. When doing this, make sure you always wet the plastic first or it will stick to your rice paper or napkin, pulling it off. I let the decoupaged image dry for several hours and now I'm going to give it a coat of Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish in a satin finish. I'm going to be doing some painting up to and over the rice paper. If the edges aren't sealed, the paper will grab onto the paint and you'll be able to see the exact line of where your paper ends and the painting begins. And we definitely don't want that, so sealing the image is key. Now it's time for some ombre painting. I mixed Pentart yellow and gold together for the color by the honeycomb. I'm using a lighter yellow to blend in with the gold and to the left of it, since the paper in that area is a lighter yellow. The turquoise item that you're seeing me use is called a cup cradle. It's made from silicone and I rely on it a lot. I use this anytime I'm working on something round. It keeps my piece from rolling away from me. I get a lot of people asking me what it is. There'll be a link in my description box below, just in case you want to check it out. I used Pentart Vintage Green and some of the light yellow at the bottom of the bottle to blend in with all the foliage. I'm also blending all the greens, yellows, and gold together. I'll go back and forth with the colors until I'm happy with the way it looks. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of napkins that you can purchase one at a time. They carry many other craft supplies such as rice paper, paint, clay, molds, and a great selection of Polyvine products. Over 9,000 products and growing. They are wonderful to work with and will send your order out fast. You'll receive free shipping on orders over $75 and special bonus points for orders over $100. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address and you'll receive 10% off your next order. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. Make sure you check them out. I'll be leaving links for all the products I use in my description box below, as well as more information on the previously mentioned promotions. Please note that any of these promotions are subject to future changes. I'm taking the paint up to and over top of the rice paper. This will blend the paint and paper together so you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Then I blended a little of the white with my colors at the top of the bottle to make the white and colors blend seamlessly as well. Using sponges because it's the easiest way to blend your paint colors together. I always spray my sponges with a little bit of water and then squeeze them with a paper towel to get out any excess water. This will also help the paint colors to blend. I get the round artist sponges and cut them into quarters. This gives you a nice little pointed handle at the top. If you want to see a video tutorial on exactly how to do ombre painting, click the banner at the top right of your screen. I'll also leave you a link for this video in my description box below, as well as at the end of this video. I let all the paint dry for about an hour, and now I'm going to give the entire bottle a coat of the heavy-duty wood varnish. I want to protect all the paint that I just put on that bottle. And now I'll let that dry for an hour before moving on. When painting my ombre, I painted over some stems at the bottom. They were so thin it was impossible to paint between them. So I'm using Pentart Pine Green and a really fine brush to add them back. The brushes I'm using are made for nail art, but work so great for detail painting. I'm using DOS clay to make a couple little embellishments for this fun bottle. DOS is my favorite clay. It's so easy to work with. I'm pressing the clay into my two silicone molds. One is a bee and the other is part of a honeycomb. After pressing the clay into the molds, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife and then smoothing the clay out with some water. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid so they just pop out of the mold easily. No tiny little limbs will break off. I ended up making another mold for around the neck of the bottle. Look how easily these just pop out of the molds. They are frozen solid, so I'll need to let them thaw for just a few minutes after taking them out of the mold. Make sure you unmold them right out of the freezer. If you want to see an in-depth video on how to work with air dry clay, click the banner in the top right corner of your screen. I'll also leave you a link for that video in my description box below. The clay has thawed out enough so I'm able to bend it. I'm going to glue it on the bottle while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the shape of the bottle. I'm using Aleene's Tacky Glue. This is a great glue for attaching wet clay. As I'm attaching the mold around the neck of the bottle, I'll need to cut it to fit. Afterwards, I'm smoothing it out with a wet brush. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. I'm making sure to delicately press down my clay onto the bottle so there are no gaps between the clay and the bottle. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean brush or a Q-tip. I put the honeycomb mold right by where the honeycomb is in my image. Now I'll let these dry overnight. The clay is dry and it's time to paint my embellishments. I used the dark gold to paint the honeycomb. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I mixed some of the gold and light yellow together for the body of the bee. And Pentart black for his head and legs. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I use a lot of Dixie Belle and Pentart paints. These are my absolute favorites. They both go on super smooth and creamy with really good coverage. I rarely, if ever, need a second coat of Pentart, and that goes for the metallic colors as well. Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Magnolia for his wings. I'm using Pentart Vintage Green for the mold on the top of the bottle. And in a few minutes I'll jazz that up a little bit. I'm using light yellow to dry brush on the green. I'm putting just a little bit of the yellow on the tip of my brush and then wiping it on the paper towel so my brush is almost dry. Then I'm lightly dragging it across the tops of all the raised area. I love dry brushing. I think it's such a cool effect. After the paint dried in about 30 minutes, I gave all my embellishments a coat of Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish and let that dry for an hour. I'm going to be doing some antiquing and I need a shiny surface. I mixed just a drop of glazing medium and the tiniest bit of black paint together to antique the bee's body. I was hoping to get the black in the stripes so I wouldn't have to paint them. But it didn't work out as great as I thought it would, and I had to paint the stripes anyway. They just weren't deep enough to hold enough of the antique. I'm mixing about a teaspoon of the glazing medium with a small amount of Pentart earthy brown paint and a small squirt of water. This is going to create a nice antiquing medium which will add some depth and dimension to all these embellishments. I'm brushing it on and around each one of them and then wiping it right off with a soft dry cloth. It wipes off the surface because of the satin sealer I put on, but it will stay in all the cracks and crevices, creating a lot of depth. You can mix the glazing medium with any color paint to make an antique. This allows you to get really creative with your projects. I'm making the bee's wings look special by adding Dixie Belle pearlescent glaze. This will make the wings shimmer. Now here's how to get an incredible shine with the satin finish heavy duty wood varnish. I'm sanding with some fine grit sandpaper very lightly and wiping off the dust. This time I'm going to use Polyvine's varnish brush to apply the heavy-duty wood varnish. This brush is designed to eliminate brush strokes and leaves a beautiful self-leveling shine. You can do this same procedure more than once. Keep sanding and adding another coat until you get the desired shine. Just make sure you let it dry for at least an hour between coats. 2 or 3 coats of this gives you a beautiful shine that's moisture and high heat resistant, as well as high chemical resistant, high stain resistant, high abrasion resistant, and food safe. This works wonderful on any painted or decoupage surface or shiny surface that has been coated with Polyvine multi-surface lacquer. I let that dry for an hour between each coat and an hour after the final coat. I've had a few people ask me if this varnish has a strong smell. No, it does not. It's water-based, so there are no harmful fumes at all. Okay, here comes my favorite part. I'm going to add some shimmer. I'm using Decor wax in the color Eternal, which is gold, and a wax rub in the color White Pearl for the bee's wings. I'm putting a small amount of the rub on my finger and rubbing it together with my thumb. Smearing it around like that prevents a large amount of your product ending up in one place. I'm working on some great spring projects right now. A lot of them are requests that I'm excited to be making. I love planning projects around your requests. Just please be patient. I get quite a few of them, and I get the projects out as quickly as I can. I love hearing about what you'd like to see, so keep those requests coming. I'm using some mineral spirits on a Q-tip to clean up some of the Eternal from around the crown. I'll also need to clean my paintbrush with the mineral spirits as the Eternal is a solvent-based product. All the other products you've seen me use today can be cleaned up with soap and water. I use Speedball pink soap for brushes. I'll leave you a link in my description box below. It works really well. It seems to remove paint you didn't even know was still in your brush. I think you'll like it. I let the Eternal wax dry for several hours, and now I'm going to buff it to a beautiful shine. I'm using a soft, dry cloth. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. I've put a link to a video that I think you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that video. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.